this is a community project that I put together. The problem that Ms. Corbin was facing is place value in her resource math class. Students are grades 4 through 6 with an average class size of 7 to 8 students. Some of the technology that I thought would work was Jamboard with Screencastify, Smartboard lesson from Smart Exchange, Quizlet, and an infographic. The Jamboard lesson with Screencastify is basically a presentation with voiceover. Students can pause it at any time, it can be accessed anywhere, and it can definitely be used for reviewing. The Smartboard activity is interactive. Students can work along with the teacher, and the best part is that the teacher is front and center instead of being behind a computer screen. Quizlet is digital flashcards, great for review. They have multiple formats that can help student review. So basically, instead of just being the flashcard, there's also a test. They got some matching questions and some fun little games that can go with it. Then you have an infographic. Information is all on one page. It's great for review, just like the others, and it can be used as an enhancement for lessons. Then we're looking at the example lesson for place value that I created. It starts out with a bell ringer. You got 3 place value questions on the board, followed by the Jamboard presentation. Afterwards, we have the Smartboard activity. Then you have Quizlet for review, and then the final assessment. The lesson will be able to teach/review place value for students. Place value is an important math foundation that needs to be mastered for student success in their future math education. The following are some of the objectives. Students will be able to explain the concept of place value, correctly identify a given number's place value, and also correctly identify each of the following place values. You got ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. Starting out, she would start with a bell ringer. She'd have 3 questions on the board. Students would be given 3 minutes to complete, after which they would review as a class. This kind of just helps them get in the mindset to start the learning of place value. Then it would start with Jamboard. Each student would individually access the Jamboard presentation with their headphones on, with their Google Classroom. This would allow them to pause or repeat any of the presentation. That way they can fully grasp the knowledge. At the end, students would be able to ask questions before proceeding on to the next activity. The Smartboard, students would actually have access to the lesson on their Chromebooks. That way they're able to work the problems along at the same time as Ms. Corbin does. At the end of the activity, she would call them up to the front in pairs to answer questions on the Smartboard. So she would say something like, write a number that has an 8 in the thousands place, or write a number that has 2 in the hundreds place, just to kind of gauge where they're at. Then they would be instructed to open up Quizlet and review the digital flashcards. In order to ensure that they're actually doing what she expects of them, they would have to take the test and then screenshot their results and send it to her. And it would also kind of be like a little bit of an assessment. And then they would go on to the formal assessment. So some of the assessments involved, students would be assessed throughout the lesson. The bell ringer would be an assessment of their prior knowledge. And then the end of the Smartboard activity would also be an assessment. A final test will be given that will assess students' understanding of place value. So this is kind of an example of what it would look like. The lesson follows along with these Common Core curriculum standards, which I believe they're 2nd and 3rd grade standards. So it's a little bit below their level, but this is just kind of their moment to get caught back up to where they should be. Then it also follows along with the NETS standards, which is Empowered Learner. Students use technology to seek feedback that informs and improves their practice and to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. This lesson will utilize different forms of technology that will get the student motivated and involved. The end goal is to ensure students understand place value and its components. It's extremely important for them to get place value. Just, that way they can start catching back up to where they need to be.